I'm sitting there, and I'm like, let me look up what the name means.
So you didn't know what the name meant?
I didn't know what Josiah meant.
Okay.
And when I looked up the name, it became very clear to me that God was giving me another kiss on the forehead, with Josiah being the first name and Zaniel being the second name. Josiah literally means Yahweh heals. Yahweh heals Zaniel Anderson is my son's name. I mean, my son's literal name is God heals my dad. Welcome to the Legin Pocast. I'm glad you made it to another episode, man. Thanks for being here with me. I'm your host, Legin. My name, Nigel, backwards, spells legend, just as God turned my life around. And we are all about God turning things around here. And the theme of this season, Your Story Matters. We're telling stories about turnaround, inspiring you that all things can turn around. So thanks for being here with us. We are a member of the NRT Podcast Network. This episode is sponsored by a group of colleges. One is Aviation Institute of Maintenance, a nationwide college that is training people to fill the gap in the aviation industry fixing planes. In the regional area of Virginia, Centura College, training people on trades such as medical professions as well as massage therapy. And then right in Norfolk, Virginia, Tidewater Tech, that's teaching HVAC as well as car maintenance and all those type of things. You're looking for a good job, those are the places to go. Those are my folks. Holla at them. Also sponsored by Chick-fil-A Broad Creek Crossing in Norfolk, Virginia, where I frequent. Good food, you know the deal. But if you also are looking for a good job, the owners and the leaders there are great people and they really take care of you. Y'all, man, you might pull up and I might be in that joint eating. You know what I'm saying? Like if I see you in there and you say, yo, I watch your podcast, I'll buy you a small fry just because I'm generous like that. You know what I mean? And I'll buy you some Chick-fil-A sauce, right? That didn't work. Okay. What we're talking about today, if you've been listening to the last couple episodes, it's a bunch of stories for personal and marriage and all that. Now we're talking about why you should tell your story, like why you should take the step and find a way to tell your story, because your story matters, right? And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Legin Podcast. We are glad you're here. Episode 5. It's 5, bro. We in this.
Wow.
We in this thing, man. Thank you for hanging with us.
Thanks for staying.
Yeah, man. And if you just got here, we appreciate you. Go back and listen to all 4 episodes.
Please.
Take copious notes.
Yes, copious.
And then there'll be extra credit at the end.
Yes.
And if you can, like, subscribe, 5-star, and share, and do all the things. And we want you to do that now up front. We say this every episode, because if you don't like this episode, we want it already done, so you can't take it back.
Should we take a moment so they can share again and tell a friend?
Does that work?
I don't know.
This is pre-recorded.
We can
Pretend it's live. Do it now.
Yeah.
And so I am your host, Legin. Glad to be with you, man. I'm a rapper, speaker. My name is Nigel. Legin is Nigel spelled backwards. It just says Christ turned my life around. That's the point of this podcast. Turn around. God turning your life around. Absolutely. And telling your story. To my right is my eloquent co-host, illustrious, exuberant, Trevor King Louis. King Trevor Louis.
I'm still trying to get used to these adjectives that he's in.
I'm not just be adding stuff, though.
I appreciate it, though.
Hey, man,
nice to see y'all. I'm here.
All about self-esteem and boosting that up.
Yeah, man.
So King Louis, Anomaly Art Studio, professional graffiti extraordinaire with murals.
Absolutely.
Killing the game out here.
I do it.
And if you want to hear his story and mine, episode 1.
Yep.
If you want to hear my brother JB, who jumps in and out here, his story is episode 3.
Absolutely.
And our prayer is that our stories encourage you, that your story matters. God cares about your story. And today, with the theme of this whole season 3 has been your story matters. That's been where we at, right?
Right.
So today, with the whole Legin Podcast, turning life around, God flipping it around, the thought is, how can you turn your story around if you need to? And if you already have, the second part of that, which may be episode 6, or maybe we do it today.
Possibly.
Is how can you then go and tell your story?
Yeah.
Because somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And that's what I feel. I feel like every story matters.
It does.
God is writing every story. If we allow him the pen to write it in the right way. And then we have something to say. We've been through something. We survived 100% of the things we've been through.
Absolutely.
And use your story to give God glory and for the good of other people.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen, man.
So,
this is perfect timing because I'm feeling like an old person now.
What?
Bruh, you know when you was younger and you know your parents or the older people will come to you and they'll be like, well, son, see, you should have did it this way. And they tell you these stories about how they walked to school in the snow with no feet, 13 miles, right? Your feet was missing. And, you know, and you sit through it uncomfortably because for real, you're not as interested as you should be. Okay. So now I'm finding myself telling those stories. And I was able to stop and notice that everyone was looking at me like I was the old guy. Like I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But since we're telling stories, I feel like there is a disconnect between the elders and the youth.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing about telling your story, elders have experienced more in life, right?
True.
The ups, downs, the goods, the bads. So therefore, they are lack of a better word, a treasure trove. That was a good word.
That was. That sounded good. I would have never used it. Yeah, I am now.
There you go. They are a treasure trove of information. Yeah. So I think the youth that take the time to listen to the elders end up faster than the other youth. That's because they're given cheat codes, if you will.
Yeah, through the stories.
But as the older person, you got to also understand that I'm speaking to someone who hasn't had the experiences and they're at a different place in their story.
Yeah.
I was once there.
Yeah.
So the delivery.
We didn't want to listen.
Right. The delivery is important.
Right.
So I don't know if that's off base, but we're talking about telling stories. And I realized that I have to watch the delivery of how I do.
Nah, let's get into that because we talked about this over breakfast because we eat before we get.
Yeah, I'm a little swole right now, so I'm trying to get my energy back.
That country fried steak.
Country fried steak.
We'll fall asleep mid-podcast.
Good.
But yeah, let's get to that. But before we do, two things. Mm-hmm. One, and this is not helpful at all. It's just funny to me. Like one is every time we talk about an old person telling a story, you ever notice they had the same voice when we imitate them?
Did I do that?
You did. Like I know they come here like, when I was every time we don't matter if they sounded like that at all. That's just how they all.
This is the official old man voice.
Yeah. It could be auntie somebody did. When I was young,
it's the same voice.
Why your auntie voice dropped like that?
I'm gonna do better.
No, I do it too. I think it's funny.
Referencing.
I be referencing people and I'm like, they don't sound like that at all. But in my head, because they was coming with somebody on the ear, like, you know what you should do.
Get this aggravating old person.
Yeah, this aggravating, scratchy voice.
That's me now, though. I'm that guy.
You gotta own it.
Yeah, I'm owning it. Man.
Number two, he said he was the old person that was, I had to walk to school with the she had my toe sticking out my shoes.
Yeah.
We had no feet and all that stuff.
Yes.
Zoom in on his brother's shoes. Josh, please, could you get a camera to zoom? No. Josh, could you get in there with your phone? You got to, if you want, right. You have to go to YouTube and watch this to see. No. You have to go to YouTube and watch this. You didn't wear those for them not to be seen.
Well, I mean, I like the Hey, you know what's funny? I was like, I don't know if and I said that I don't like.
He said the Ronald McDonald shit.
Yes, definitely Brandon.
God,
Brandon McDonald's.
He took all the cool out of the show.
He did, right? I was like, ooh, I'm gonna kill him today with these.
They the Tiana Taylor joints, right?
Yeah, they the Tiana. I had to get the Brittany Griner sizes.
He said,
because they only come. Don't judge me. I'm not saying they come in women's. But
all I care about is how fire them joints is. I appreciate it, bro. Listen, because I have a board from nonprofit stuff like that. Trevor's on the board because he be bringing all the cool to the table. Man. And it was at the end of the board meeting. I was like, "This is why I invited you, bro." Because did you get some zoom in? So all right, so you got to go to YouTube and see the house, man. There it is. I don't even know where I was going.
I'm trying to keep myself young with the sneakers.
Hey man, back in my day, we didn't even wear shoes.
It was more of a moccasin. We make it ourselves.
All right, so let's do this. Give me a story of turnaround in your life where either you did something to turn your story around, God blatantly jumped in to turn your story around, and you had nothing to do with it, or both. But just a story where there's some turnaround that happened, and then I'll tell
okay. I mean, I got quite a few because I'm one big turnaround, but one that comes to mind because I got another chance at it was my first marriage.
Okay.
For those that don't know, I'm on my second and last marriage. I got to look at my camera. I'm on my second and last marriage. But on the first marriage, I was young. You know what I'm saying? She was young. There were a lot of things that I hadn't learned yet, maturity-wise. There were a lot of things that I was doing that really ain't conducive to a good marriage. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? And to keep, to protect people's names and faces and things of that nature, we would get into things that only the immature would get involved. now that I'm going into my second and last marriage, me and my wife have been together for 20 years now. We've been married for 10. Praise God. Love you, Vandalette. So with that, I learned a lot from the first marriage of what not to do. And this isn't, I can't put it all on my ex-wife.
For sure.
It was, some things that I had to learn. So God, my understanding of the principles of Christ, having a foundation that was biblical, made me realize some things that look like a good time, that's totally contrary to what God has set for us to have a good life.
Yeah, no doubt.
So things that I would do, whether it would be cheating, whether it would be, bringing other people into the relationship and things of that nature.
Yeah, I was going to tell you to go there if you depend on how comfortable Van is with the conversation.
Oh yeah, it's cool. There was times I've been in a situation with my last relationship where there were other people brought into the bedroom.
Yeah,
So I was young and wild, man. So understanding those principles that Christ set out, I can pinpoint and say, you know what? This is why the relationship went sour. This is what I was doing that caused things to go left.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that foundation of Christ, again, the world says a lot of that stuff is a good time.
Yeah.
You just having a ball.
Right.
But I know this was the beginning of the end of my relationship. So understanding that story that I was creating there, those pages don't belong in the book that me and my wife are creating.
That's well said, bro. Yeah.
So, me and my wife, through the experiences that we had before, praise God, I was able to make it out of there. We learned what not to do. And we learned what to turn up, because there were some things that were good in the relationship and in the history of things. Those I kept.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
those things that I knew that were destroying my relationship, even if I didn't have a foundation of Christ, just doing the checks and balances of how things turned out and what went on, being honest about myself and the goods, the bads, and things like that, I was able to say, you know what, I can keep this, but this stuff got to go.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have a good relationship this time around. And it worked.
And that's good.
Don't get it twisted. We have our moments. But me and my wife, we communicate, we're honest with ourselves, about ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we come to the table to try to make a resolution, we're not pointing fingers.
Fact.
We're just getting rid of the wrongs and making things right.
That's good, because your triggers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The stuff because when you involve yourself in immorality, particularly sexually,
Absolutely.
it ingrains and trains your brain to do certain things and get triggered in certain places.
Yes, sir.
So now you know where they are. You know where the stuff you should stay away from anyway, but you know where the extra to stay away from.
Yeah.
But you also learn like Christ comes into the picture. I mean, without Christ, we know faithfulness is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a moral compass inside of us that says this crying out for right all the time. But without an anchor to that compass, we find ourselves drifting wherever we feel, and we're led by our emotions and feelings or facts, right? So, but
That's what's happening a lot these days.
that's what it is, bro. Listen, man, that's the beginning. That's
Getting led by feelings.
well, that's the beginning, bro. That's Genesis 3. Did God really say?
That's good.
I don't know. She literally,
I don't feel like he would have said.
yeah, because Eve literally says, yeah, this is what he said, and he's like, did he know? And she's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And that's when everything goes
Right.
from there.
Yep.
But yeah, so but we see it now, and if the drift feels new to us, because we're living in the cultural downturn from what we saw 15, 20 years ago in certain areas, right?
Yeah.
But I think I've said this on the podcast before. I love this quote. Malcolm Muggeridge says, all new news is just old news happening to new people. You know what I mean?
Good.
So like, we're seeing it, but it ain't like our parents didn't see it, our grandparents didn't.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, but I mean, like, your story turned around because you're like, hey, this isn't working. Something needs to change.
Absolutely.
And then your anchor for that change is Christ.
It's Christ.
Which is unchanging.
Absolutely.
And that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I wanted you to go there because, like, right, I wanted you to, at least, even if you don't dig deep today, like, touch what the stuff that was broken.
Oh yeah.
Because we got such a broken relational and sexual ethic in our
And don't get it. And I think partially a reason why I felt like it was okay is because of things that happened to me early on, you know. Right. So from a sexual standpoint, I had life skewed.
Yeah.
So I could bring multiple women into the room. I'm just enjoying myself.
Right. And then on top of that, you got the culture feeding you. Like the more you smash, the better you are.
Absolutely.
Bigger man, you whatever.
So it feeds insecurities of a man as well.
Yeah, it feeds insecurities. And all those, when you feed those insecurities, the meal is temporary.
Yep. And you're throwing your penis on the crap table.
Right. Well, there's that.
There's that.
So it's being able to say like, hey man, this faithfulness is right. I knew faithfulness is right. I'm gonna do me. But now that you've experienced,
I was able to see it in action. Why, you know
it, but now you know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so but that decision. So let me ask you this: was that decision to change that? Did that come pre-Christ or post-Christ?
What's crazy is it was mid-Christ, because you got to think I grew up in the church.
True.
So
you already knew that.
I knew it.
You already knew it.
I was given that foundation. But when you become an adult, when I became an adult, part of my story is I didn't want to go out and it's almost like if your mom and dad was Cowboy fans, you become a Cowboy fan.
Dig it.
I didn't want that. I wanted to learn Christ or learn the world for myself.
Yeah.
So this was in the middle of me. You know what? I grew up in the church. I'm finna go and find my own truth.
Yeah.
So that was in the middle of me searching and finding myself, finding truth, figuring out what adulthood is like, being on my own. So that's what that was.
I got you, man. I got you. A lot of people think that journey is a necessary one, right? To elite, and I don't want to, shade nobody's situation, but like, let me go out here and figure it out. The define my truth thing.
There's only one truth.
Right. 2 + 2 still 4, right? So that piece of find my truth and the stuff that you get involved with and do while you're running away from one truth to find another, and the consequences and repercussions that you may have to deal with lifelong, things you got involved in. You got to look at, was the experimentation worth it?
Was it worth it? And you know what? A lot of times the experimentation, they say, I want to find my truth. Just say you want to do what you want to do. Right now, I just want to be free to do whatever. Right. And it was a lot. I would say it was 60% of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm cool with God on Sunday, but let me, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with having some, say spiritual, so I feel righteous, but I'm still going to
turn up.
So that whole situation is like, you got to be honest with yourself.
What you said, you have to
got to be honest with yourself.
The worst person you can lie to is yourself.
Yeah, that mirror is a beast.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Because you can never resolve anything if you don't pinpoint that you got problems.
Yeah. And you need an accountability system.
Yes.
And some older folks in your life.
Absolutely.
Who can look at you and say, hey, look here, young blood.
Man.
When I didn't have no shoes. But
they're gonna have voice again.
But
I kept walking. I didn't have
walking.
shoes.
I kept walking. Ain't no feet, but we kept walking.
Right. Oh, see, the problem with y'all cry too much.
Snowflake.
We're about rocks.
Well,
go ahead.
All right. So, man, so one of the ways, this is a story of turnaround for me that God did that was crazy. So, and it's got to do with my children's names. We go back to episode 1 if you have time. But if this is your first time here, my father was absent drugs and alcohol. At the age of 20, had the chance to forgive him. And right at, or 21, 20, he came and apologized. It took me 9 months to actually forgive him. At 21, I did forgive him. Right after I forgave him, he passed away. And that situation brought me to Christ in so many ways. So I'm with Christ. I'm walking my life out. I'm getting my life together. Tia and I have been dating. I'm working on me becoming the man I should be for her. We eventually get married, and we have this 5-year plan of like, hey, let's enjoy us for 5 years, and then let's bring children into the equation.
Yeah.
So we make it to 4, but like at one point, we're not even thinking about kids. And my dad's been dead for 6-7 years at this point, something like that. I got to look at the math.
Yeah.
And my motivation was, I want to be a better dad than he was. That's my motivation at the time.
Yeah.
So one day we're just like watching TV, and out of nowhere, it's like this lightning bolt thought in my mind of, hey, T, if we have a daughter one day, we should name her Shekinah. Like, not thinking about kids, not thinking about names,
just random.
Like, we're watching the show or something. It's like, it threw her off. She was like, what? Like,
right. What
are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, I don't know, if we have a girl, we should name her Shekinah.
That was a download. I call that download.
That was a download.
Yeah, that was a download.
That was God speaking. And Shekinah means God's manifest glory, his glory present with you. That's what it means in the Bible when there's like the glory cloud descends on the temple. It's typically referred to as the Shekinah glory of God. So this is the manifest right here in your face, tangible, thick glory of God. That's what Shekinah means. So we talk about that, and then shortly after that, Tia's like, hey, I'm pregnant. Wow. I was like, all right, so you know what I'm saying? So daughter's on the way, and I'm excited because got a kid coming, and also terrified that I'm gonna screw this up.
Yeah.
And do what my dad did, let my family down. So fast forward to the delivery room. I mean, my daughter had a special situation because when this is cute. When my wife was asleep, if my wife turned away from me, my daughter would kick her in the stomach and like make her, and when she turned back and faced me, she would stop.
That's wild.
That's crazy, right?
That's super. That's gospel cute. For real, man. Yo, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's a cool thing I always remember. So fast forward to delivery day. Shekinah is her name. She has my mother-in-law's middle name, Charnel.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Charlene. And she's born. My daughter's about 5 minutes old. She comes out the womb. She hears my voice. She's just looking like, cause she, you know what I mean, all that stuff. And so now I'm holding my greatest joy and my biggest fear. Holding Shekinah in my hands. And my mom pulls me to the side and she says, do you have any idea what today is? I was like, I mean, my first kid birthday. Like,
right.
She's like, and she kind of came 2 weeks early.
Okay.
She said, today is your father's birthday. I never knew my dad's birthday to the day my first kid was born.
So your daughter was born on your dad's birthday.
Born on my.
She wasn't supposed to be.
No,
2 weeks early.
She was 2 weeks early, and I never knew that day. It wasn't like I was seeking like, hey, induce her so I can tell this cool story.
Right.
You know what I mean? She. You know what I mean? Like, it just happened.
Yeah.
And I never knew his birthday, like, until that day. Because why would I celebrate his birthday?
Yeah.
It wasn't around. I didn't celebrate Father's Day.
Right.
So it was just like, what's going on? And that moment of fear when she told me that, it was like God nudging me. There's so many things that came together in that moment. My Shekinah, God's glory is now visiting you. My father's birthday at 7/7. If you get into biblical numbers, completion, yeah. Number of 7, right? God rests on the seventh day.
Yeah.
7/7. You can't plan that.
Yeah.
And it was almost as if God was whispering to me, if you will trust me with this, I will turn all of this around in your story. I'm not into reincarnate. I don't believe that my dad was coming. None of that stuff. But I believe it was a symbolic wink from God.
Yeah, my cousin calls it a kiss on the forehead. God gives you a kiss on the forehead.
Beautiful. That can't say it better. Yeah. God kiss on the forehead, saying, I'm here.
Yep.
Trust me with this, and I will turn your story around.
That's good.
So that was the beauty of my daughter's name, born on my father's birthday and all that stuff. God is turning around my father's story to make me into dad that I wish I had. Now, God, fast forward to my son, God starts to heal me. So I go from, I'm going to prove I'm a better man than he was, a better dad than he was, to I just want to be the dad he could have been.
Okay.
If he'd have met Christ in time.
Very good.
So now.
That's a better perspective.
Yeah, and it's just mature. I was healing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, Tia, I'm trying to figure out, I always skip this verse, honor your father and mother. I skipped it because, like, why would I want to honor my father? Reading that language gives me pain. Yeah. I love honoring my mom. So I like 9.5 of the commandments.
Got
it. Right? And how do I honor my father now that he's dead, right? Mm-hmm. And the only thought I had was, what if, and I went to Tia, like, what if we give my son my dad's first name as his middle name? Just to honor my father in the earth a little bit.
Yeah.
So his name's Daniel, but with a Z. And my wife was like, cool, well, I'm with it. What do you think about if we ever have a boy, the first name Josiah? Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, let's do something else. Like, I just, you know what I mean? I was kind of like, I wanted some old, I was being too deep. I want some old deep biblical, like, super Hebrew name for no reason. I just wanted to go like, find me the name in the Bible with the most syllables and let's do that. And that's why I was, and I brought some out, like out the Old Testament. Tia was like, if you don't get out of here.
Yeah.
Set him up like. Right. So she got pregnant and we're about 8 months in and, she's carrying the baby. So she won the argument. And so it's Josiah Daniel. And I was like, all right, cool. So we're 8 months, we're about a month away. And I was sitting in Krispy Kreme on Northampton Boulevard.
Hot light was on?
I don't remember, bro, but I just know I was in there. I could smell the stuff.
Okay.
Probably.
Probably.
Because why else would you go?
Why would you be there? Right.
Shout out Krispy Kreme if you want to sponsor the show.
For real. We need a sponsorship.
I'm sitting in there, and I'm like, let me look up what the name means. I had a book of biblical names with.
So you didn't know what the name meant?
I didn't know what Josiah meant.
Okay.
And when I looked up the name, it became very clear to me that God was giving me another kiss on the forehead, with Josiah being the first name and Zaniel being the second name. Josiah literally means Yahweh heals.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Joshua went about the shout.
Okay.
He's like, all right.
That's the shout key right there.
There. Yahweh heals Zaniel Anderson is my son's name. I mean, my son's literal name is God heals my dad.
That's
crazy. And while he's healing me to the point where I can even try to honor my dad and everything, he was healing me so he could send that message to me about, I'm going to keep turning your story around if you keep trusting me.
Yeah.
And I'm not planning any of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is God injecting himself.
That's how life is supposed to go if we're a follower of Christ, is to let him plan and order our steps.
Let him write the pages, give the book over to him to say, I just want to play my part. What script do you have for me here?
Absolutely.
And then you get to improv your lines. You get to fill in some stuff.
It's a bestseller.
But if I could just let him, here's the pen, bro. The ink. I see God not even typing, just ink, quill. Like,
that's the thing about a story too. And I was telling somebody this the other day. If we're following Christ, right, we're the heroes of this story. He already told us that we have the victory at the end. So the stuff in between just makes it more of a good story. You feel what I'm saying? It builds testimonies.
Yeah.
It makes people, it keeps you engaged, like, yo, I can't believe I was here and now I'm here.
Right.
You need some of that drama to make a good story. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, it appeals to us. It connects with us because our story, because of the brokenness of the world we live in, because of the reality of sin, you can't explain evil any other way than that.
Right.
We connect with the drama and the struggle and the overcoming. I'm one that doesn't believe that God just intentionally wants you to go through hell on earth and go through stuff. But I do believe that because of the choices we make and the choices that are made by other beings with free will and stuff that's just broken and happening here, that God, at Romans 8:28, all things will work together for the good of those who love. Those things will be used in the story to communicate, by contrast, God's goodness to us.
Absolutely.
And to get our attention when we see all this crap around us. And Christ steps in and says, this is how it was supposed to be. This is what I have planned for you. This is the good I have mapped out for you. By contrast, you can look at it and say, that's beautiful. You got my attention.
Yeah.
Thank you with the story. And the fact that Christ steps into our story.
Yeah.
And allows himself to go through suffering on our behalf.
Absolutely.
So he hasn't disconnected himself from the reality of brokenness we go through. I can trust him with my story because he wanted me to be a part of his.
Let me ask you a question, Pastor. Because this is a question that a lot of people ask, right? This is unchurched. This is an unchurched question. I know the answer to it. Well, why does God allow so many bad things to happen?
Yeah.
Why does he allow people to die? Why does he allow tornadoes to come and wipe out whole neighborhoods? Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's the question of why evil, right? Like, why are things wrong? Why are things off? I believe we were created. The bigger thing is, like, why are we bothered by wrong? Like, why are we bothered by a tornado come? Why are we bothered by evil? Why are we bothered by injustice?
Okay.
Why does this throw us off? Because we were created for perfection and rightness and things to be made in shalom and peace. So when we see things off, something in us says, this is not right, this is off, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Why is that here? Right? And that's the first thing we got to pay attention to. Like, what inside of us is crying out for something else?
There has to be something already, like a computer. If it doesn't have that certain things programmed in,
Facts.
it won't even worry about those things.
Where's our conscience? Where's morality?
Right.
No matter how you feel about, police law, why do we think we need justice in place?
Yeah.
Like, why are there rules and communities supposed to operate this way?
Naturally, we feel it.
Naturally, we run that because we were made for something right and something went wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the other piece of it is Back to the garden, right? The whole, why did God get so mad? They took an apple off the tree. Like, what's the big deal? We don't know if it's apple. We don't know what the fruit was.
They just wanted knowledge.
Yes, and they wanted knowledge. What's the big? It has nothing to do with that. It was like, this is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the point was not, because they already knew what good and evil was. God said, don't do it. They said it out in their mouths.
Right.
The point was, no, you take it because it's desirable for knowledge. You wanted to be now the one who decided what good and evil was.
Yeah.
You wanted
you wanted to be a God.
You wanted to be God. Yep. You like, I don't want you to tell me what to do. I want to live my truth. I want to live my life. And it's the turning away from the necessity from our Creator.
Yep.
And making those decisions ourselves. Yep. So now what God has to do is, if God wants to eliminate, because that's in our heart now, that's a natural inbred desire for us. We know there's something wrong. We want some right. But we want right our way. We want it divine.
Yeah.
So the way that we make right work is the way we feel right should work, based on our metric and not heaven's.
Absolutely.
So there's constant sin in us, as even though we think we're doing a good thing. Look, I helped, I gave some money to the poor, and I did this, did that, but I'm smashing 40 chicks over here, and God knows my heart. And like, you know what I'm saying? We're breaking the metric because we're now the ones to say, I want to decide right.
I'm trying to customize myself.
I want to customize. I want a created character. I want to do that.
Right.
And so if God is going to eliminate evil, he's got to start with me.
Bro, that's what I tell people. Hey, like, you like, well, why don't you get rid of evil? Well, what happened to you then?
What happened to you?
Like, because I'm sure it's somebody somewhere that you did something to.
Facts. If God's going to eliminate liars, he's got to eliminate me.
You got to go.
If God's going to eliminate thieves, you got to eliminate me. Like, because I've got, I have in me the capacity right now to make every decision that I'm against if I want to.
Absolutely.
And that's like, that's the why do I fight so hard to make sure I don't slip into unrighteousness?
Yeah.
Why is it not why don't I just automatically not
right? I shouldn't do this, so I'm not gonna do it.
I should automatically be righteous.
Yes.
Because that capacity of sin and evil dwells here. Paul wrote 75% of the New Testament. He's like, man, woe is me. Look at this body.
Yeah,
like he was
struggling.
So
things that I shouldn't do, I do.
Right, all that. Like he's writing this to a church he leads. Which is another story about being honest. Because the Bible's honest about the characters that wrote it, and you should be too, and chose to. Yep. So if God's going to eliminate evil and snap his fingers, we got to go. Instead of doing that, he sees fit to redeem and to be patient and to expose himself to us and to say, listen, I'm going to come and pay the penalty for sin. That's the cross. I'm going to pay the penalty myself.
Yeah, because y'all can't do it.
Y'all can't do it.
Can't do it.
Y'all been trying. It ain't working.
Yeah.
I'm going to do them. I'm going to fulfill the law myself. I'm going to fulfill the righteous requirement that you don't have the morality in your bank account to fill.
He's the mediator. We need him to be able to be what we should.
So that's the thing, is if God's going to get rid of it, he got to get rid of me.
Yep.
And then that means you too. So God is, until your last breath, heard him called the hound of heaven, getting your attention, chasing you down, sniffing you out. Like, listen, turn. Jesus, as soon as he comes out the wilderness and passes the test of Adam, when Adam says, did God say? When he's got Jesus in the wilderness, did the Father say? And all Jesus does is quote scripture.
Yep.
He's like, yes, he
with
did.
the word.
Yes, he did. As soon as he steps out of the wilderness, the very first thing Jesus said, look, the kingdom is here, the time has come, repent and believe. Turn from everything that's contrary to heaven's word. Turn from all the sin. The word literally means change your mind. Turn from this and believe. Turn to me instead. And that's the foundation.
So when it comes to telling stories, telling your story, we first have to realize that we need to allow God to narrate in a lot of ways.
That's good, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So otherwise we'll be telling our truth and not the truth.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm just anti that language, bro.
Yeah, I am too.
It ain't to be whatever, but it's just,
that's when my old man shows that with that stuff.
I want to tell you the truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
I ain't gonna do the voice when I say it. I'm gonna say it.
I didn't even tell you, I was where that whole thing came from, because I feel like I got to say this out loud.
Yeah, go for it.
There was a 50th anniversary of hip hop. They had a panel.
Dope.
And they wanted me on the panel.
There you go.
And you know that music, entertainment, influence, that's my soapbox.
Yeah, bro.
So as soon as I got the microphone,
let me tell you something.
Let me tell y'all young folks something. Okay?
He started like this, like, first of all, with the finger wag. Let's first off.
Yes. So I want to say this. I don't feel like I still stand on what I said.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will say when telling your story, understand your audience. Understand where they could be on their journey. So therefore, you're not talking at people, you're talking to them. It's a conversation, because you also got to listen to them, listen to the youth. And I'm speaking to the older folks out here. A lot of times we got a lot we want to lay down and tell these young folks, because we see everything that's wrong. But there's a way to do it as well, because I want my words to be received. Yeah. It just seems like in this new world we're in right now, it's hard for people to reason. Yeah. It seems as if, especially you see it in politics all the time, if you don't think like me, you've become my enemy in a lot of ways. Yeah. So we, as the people who are the storytellers and the people to bring the messages, as the elders, we have to understand that the delivery does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
delivery matters.
There's that intergenerational disconnect is a big thing. I actually have a college that's bringing me in to like do a teaching on like how to cross that bridge of that intergenerational disconnect.
We do a good job too, because I think somebody told me the other day, it's like, y'all look like them. Y'all still talk like them to a certain extent, is what they said.
Oh, that's dope. But you give somebody feedback on the...
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Whoever said that, thank you.
Yeah. Dude, y'all look like them. Y'all still talk like them. But mentally, we not them no more. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway.
No. That's dope. Just this is on a separate note, because I want to get the how can you tell your story in a minute, but not now. I think, man, so I'm a John Maxwell certified speaker. If you're not familiar with John Maxwell, leadership development guru for like 50 years. He wrote like 100,000 books.
Certified, bona fide.
My favorite book is called Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. Everyone communicates, few connect. Read that book by him like maybe 13 years ago, so it changed my life. And to that panel conversation, it's, am I connected with you before I communicate with you?
Yeah.
So that what I want to say, if there's a connection, that is the conduit for this communication to get there.
Because the relationship is there, my heart,
the trust is there.
Absolutely.
I respect where you're at. This is where I'm at. So there's a lot of people, not harping on you, but like a lot of people get up and they just want to get their stuff off.
That's what it was.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got to get this off my system. Yep. But when you just rapid fire like facts or your opinion on somebody, it just bounces off. I mean, they go. You know what I'm saying? And people do that all the time. They get on their little soapboxes, and then they get a community of people who feel like them, but they miss talking to people who actually need to hear what they have to say.
Absolutely.
So I would recommend that book to you if you need to read a book. While we're talking about telling your story, because that's what I want you to get to here. Everyone Communicates, Few Connect is a fantastic book about how to connect one-on-one, small group, large group. I highly recommend that book.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's dope. So let's do this. Let's do this and end here today. And then we'll do the how you tell your story, and we'll do that in the episode.
Okay.
How can you turn your story around? How can you turn your story around? Okay. We talked about the stages of turnaround.
Yeah.
How can you turn your story around? The very first thing that we said, which you said already here, is be honest with yourself. Yeah. Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think, and I've said this before, the worst lie you can tell is the one that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Because, and this is coming from someone who has drug addiction, and I may have had sex addiction, all types of stuff going on. If you don't, when I was on drugs, there was a time, I didn't call it a problem. It was a good time. We're gonna go and have a good time.
Yeah.
But until the checks and balances came through that, this ain't adding up to a good time. This is problematic. If you're not honest about the fact that you've got a problem, there's nothing to be solved in your head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why would you change if you don't think that there's an issue? So you have to be honest with yourself, do the checks and balances on, look, I was doing things this way and this was the outcome. It continues to be the outcome. This can't be good.
Yeah, no doubt.
I got to do something about that.
Yeah, and same, man. Like I had a pornography addiction, right? And that, then, you want to act that out and just whole bunch of like sexual mistakes or whatever I made. But like, it's crazy because, the Saga battle rap dude, he's in New York. So he's in the battle rap space. He's, Christian dude. He's out there. He's killing people. Like he's murdering them in the battle rap space. But he would be honest about like I had a pornography addiction.
Yeah.
So the other battle dudes was like
Try to use it.
they were playing them. They was like pornography addiction. Like what is that? Like there was no.
They don't see it as an issue.
Right. There was no ethical framework because they still out here trying to smash everything.
Absolutely.
And it was really dope for me to see. He would keep talking about
Culture versus kingdom. If you
facts, culture versus kingdom. He would keep putting it out there and say, bro, this was my thing. I struggle here and God got me off of that. And shout out to the Saga for that. I love the metric and the standard that you raise in the culture with that. Shout out.
Good.
I never met him, but like much respect. And like that is like, this was a thing. And that was a thing for me back in the day. And like, it's crazy to see that's a part of the story. Like, so be honest about it.
Yep.
Like whatever the thing you didn't think was a problem then, that God has always said is a problem, and you now realize there's a problem. Don't act like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Don't avoid the things you've been through. Don't avoid how they made you feel. Don't let anybody tell you how you should or shouldn't feel about what you feel. Yep. Go through the feeling of, and feelings aren't facts, but go through the emotions of like feeling this, like I went through this, I did this, this was done to me, this is traumatic, I have nightmares, I'm struggling, I need help.
Yep.
Go through those, or I have a passion for this, or I hate this. Yep. Like go through those things, and this is where I'm like, bro, get therapy, get counseling, get some spiritual mentors in your life, getting good friends who can help walk through things that you can say, listen, I've never told anybody this, I tuck it away, but this is how I really feel. Get that stuff out your system and process it in real time with people who can help. I'm a big advocate of get some counseling done.
Because you've seen the results of it.
I've seen the results, man. I started counseling March 2020 or February 2020, right before the world shut down. And my schedule got erased and I couldn't go anywhere. And all I had to do was go to counseling, sit home and heal. And God, I wish I'd have did it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be honest with your story.
Yep.
And the second thing is don't try to erase the previous pages of your story.
No, they all come together.
Yeah.
It all comes. Yeah, because somebody had asked me after they heard my story, like, would you change anything? Like, because it sounded like a lot of terrible stuff happened.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Because the chemistry of all of that, and because I love the Lord, it all came together to work together for my good.
Yeah.
Now we can have these conversations about our story and the things that we went through and the things a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's plaguing other people.
Yeah.
I can have that conversation with them now from a place of experience and from a place of escape.
Yeah, no doubt.
So your honesty not only helps you free yourself from the clutches of the enemy, because the enemy loves to keep you in seclusion, because I can't tell nobody this. This is embarrassing.
Right.
That. So now it's just you and him dealing with it.
Yeah. Right.
But once you're able to be honest, put it out there, tell it frees you, and other people are freed by the word of your testimony.
That's a fact. And that's always been a mystery for me. Would I go back and change it? I don't know, because God has turned everything around so much. And
you probably would, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see what God has done, and I see what he's painted with. I see the mosaic he's made with these pieces, right? And I don't think God desired for my dad to make the decisions he made and for me to go out and do the things I did and the people I mistreated. I don't think that was part of God's plan. I think that was me choosing stuff.
Right.
I believe God is sovereign, and I believe we have free will, and I believe that works in a mystery that no theologian can adequately explain.
So no matter what you did, he could have worked it out for you.
That's my point.
Gotcha.
Would I go back and change things and see a different story? And could God have also still made all those things work together for my good?
He could.
Absolutely, yes. Am I grateful that he pulled me out? Yes, because I felt the pain of what I was in, and I felt the contrast again of what the kingdom brought into my life. And I'm grateful, and I have a gratitude because of how low I was.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I have friends who've never been through what I've been through, and that God is using them, and that's a good thing. So would I go back and change stuff? I don't know.
Gotcha.
Do I wish those things never have happened? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I grateful for what God did despite that happen? Yes, I am. So I don't really know how to answer that. But I respect all sides of that piece. So I don't think we should erase the previous pages of our story, but to your point, we should reframe them.
Yes.
Reframe what God is doing. And that's hard when you're in the middle of it and you don't see a resolution. Like, so this is on the back end of this situation. This struggle has ended. I'm going to get some healing, or I'm healed and I'm somewhere else. When you're in the middle of those bad pages, I'm not trying to sound unfair or frivolous or like.
It's hard to see the forest from the trees, man.
Facts, man. I'm not writing you off with that. And I pray to God you find release, you get out of a bad situation.
Yes.
You get some counseling, some coaching, some help, some escape. And I pray that happens sooner rather than later. I pray that happens.
The blessings on the other side of it.
It is. God is coming. Things are going to work out.
Yeah.
But I just when you're looking at the previous pages, it's best to reframe instead of pretending like they didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
My big story is forgiveness, right? That's a big part of my ministry. So people say, forgive and forget. If you don't forget, you didn't adequately forgive. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true, man. I think the beauty is when you still remember and you forgive anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I still let it go.
Yeah.
I still know what you did.
I know what you did.
And I may not trust you.
Yep.
Maybe we're not good.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm going to give you a chance to earn the trust. Maybe I want to reconcile. Maybe we're friends on the back end of what you did and we overcame this major hump. So we're better friends because we stay, you know what I mean? Like, so that can turn into beautiful things. Mm-hmm. But when you read the scriptures, it says, God tosses your sins as far as the east is from the west, right? Like he doesn't remember them in the sense of I'm going to punish you for them.
Right.
But at the same time, God is constantly reminding. Remember when I brought y'all out of Egypt?
I know what
you did,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how good I am in spite of how bad you.
Right.
Like, there's that part of the Bible too. Mm-hmm. So like, God isn't necessarily saying forgive and forget. Act like he's like forgive in spite of.
Right.
And that's Jesus on the cross. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. The ones that put me up here, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. That's the standard I think we have to have, and that's what we look at when we're reframing things. And
culture don't be thinking like that. No.
I don't. It's kingdom though. It's culture versus kingdom. I love that, man. That's a shirt though.
Yeah, it is.
Shirt. Cool. We got to make that shirt. Yeah, put this episode out. Go to show notes and buy it in case it's there.
Yeah, check on it.
Lastly, man, and I lost my notes. The last thought we had was so we said be honest, don't erase the previous pages, reframe, and then we'll end here. Find people who can help you write the next part of your story.
Yeah. God already sending folks here.
Yeah.
I didn't know we'd be sitting here. I mean, we met a while back.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it is important to keep your ears and eyes open for messengers, if you will. They may not even know.
They may not know. And it's normally people that you feel drawn to and you don't know why.
Yep.
God is sending people in your life that could be around. They're people that just make sense, right? And then there's somebody who like, man, I don't know, like can we go get some dinner or something? And just talk and figure why has God had this person here?
Yep.
It could be a peer-to-peer. It could be a mentor to mentee. It could be you're the mentor and they're the mentee.
Yep.
But you don't know what God is doing, but pay attention to the prompts, right?
Yes.
I believe that's the spirit moving you if you're listening and open to that.
Yep.
Because I think you got to have three. I feel like we said this in the episode. I think you got to have three relationships in your life. One where you're reaching up and being pulled up by somebody. One where you're reaching across, peer-to-peer, and we're encouraging each other. And one where you're reaching down and helping somebody else.
That's good.
Who's where you were.
I don't remember you saying that one.
Okay. All right. Well, it's new now.
That's thick. Yeah, that's great.
Up, across, and down.
We need each other, man.
Yeah, we need.
You're not here for yourself.
You're not, man.
You just go through what you went through for yourself.
Big facts. That's 1 Corinthians 12, man. It's the body. That's all the parts working together. Find people who can help you write the next part of your story. God is already in the writing your story business, but he's going to do that as well through key people in your life that he's sending you. So look for mentees, look for pastors, look for leaders, look for peers, look for teachers, look for, and take some, and the thing I noticed with me anyway, when I need somebody in the moment, it's harder for me to recognize who I know and remember who I know. But in the moments where I don't need people for this issue, and I just start to reflect on God, who's in my life that I need to know better? Just call this person, get some lunch, and just start to develop relationships.
Yeah.
And then something happens, and I'm like, I gotta call Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know because I know more about Mike to know I need to call Mike.
Yep. And
so I just pay attention to who's in your life that you may not be valuing, not in a disrespect kind of way, but in a I always don't spend time together like that.
Is it like a spiritual interview process everybody has, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, for real, you sit down with these different people, you talk to them, and just remember people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you when I did the video show, it was because my friend Pernell remembered me. He was my customer at one time. he remembered my personality and who I was.
Oh, that's how that happened.
And when he decided, I want to do a show, but who would be? He'd be perfect. Me and Pernell didn't talk all the time, but he remembered who I was when we met.
That's perfect.
So that was one of those situations, and it turned into a beautiful thing for the community and for the city.
Good.
More than I had expected.
Yeah, I remember them buses going around. That's all I remember. Y'all were marking.
It was crazy.
Right, that
it was crazy.
That was,
God had his hand all over that.
All over that, man. Mm-hmm. So look, how can you tell your story? Let's wrap this up with this title, and maybe this is something we're going to make it a thing, right? And this is funny because even in my story, wrestling with insecurity, doubt, not feeling good enough, false humility, all the stuff. I never wanted to have my name in front of anything. Like this podcast had a whole different name. If you look at the original episodes, it's called the Fear Not Podcast. That was a brand I had. But my friend Rick Romot in Orlando, shout out to Rick and Laura, the marketing guys, they were like, they had a conversation. It was like, look, you got to bring all the things you're doing under the Legin brand, and you got to be okay with that because your name is not about you. It's about God turning your life around. And there's a testimony in your name you're trying to get out there. So say that as much as possible. Like you didn't even give yourself that name. That popped up by accident. So I started to rebrand the different branches of what I do. Like my merch line used to be called Fear Not Merch, is now like Legin Merch, Legin Brand now. Shout out to Entre Believer. They told me to make it Legin Brand. I named my businesses, like all that type of stuff. And then the podcast became the Legin Podcast. And now we're thinking, Rick and I were talking this morning, and we're like, how do we make people letting God turn their story around become a thing?
Yeah.
And he said something about, man, what if you made legend not a noun but a verb, an action? I'm like, what do you mean? And we're like, well, this thought of like, what is your legend? What is your not me,
your story?
You know what I'm saying? What is your story? What is your turnaround? How did God take your stuff and turn around? So legend, like a lot of people misspell my name when they're trying to look me up. Like, what is your legend? But the play on the E-N-D, the L-E-G-E-N-D, what's your legend? What's your story? What's your legacy? Like, what is your legend? What is your turnaround? What is God doing for you? Chew on that. Think on that. How does God turn your life? How has God turned your life around? How is he turning your life around? Or how do you pray he turns this thing around?
Did you even notice that your life had been turned around?
Did you even pay attention?
Yeah.
How and now that you're aware of it, how do you go back and tell your story?
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk about how to tell the story next, man. Hey, listen, yeah, I like that. What is your legend? Let's do that.
Well, you did that.
Hey, man, praise the Lord. That's only the shoes that inspired me, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't got the legendary shoes.
Small things.
It's the small things. Yeah. Look, man, do all the things, like, subscribe, hit the notes. We got a bunch of stuff down there. And we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
All right, now.
Hey, man, thank you so much for watching this episode. Do me a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to the show notes, do all the things, and let us know what you're feeling, because we'd love to hear from you. Appreciate you.